Your favorite online sports show has returned to your screen as we've close to less than an hour away before we kick off the 184th Soweto Derby in all competitions overall since the Derby's inception in the year 1970, where we saw Kaiser Chiefs winning by 6 goals to 4. We are talking all things football. Welcome to it. This is all things football, football unpacked. A lot has happened in the last week since we last met. Plenty to talk about. We are available on social media. Hit me on Face. Talk to me on Facebook. As you like, by liking our Facebook page. All things football, football unpacked. Like, comment, and subscribe. Facebook. All things football, football unpacked. On YouTube, Instagram. We are at all things football underscore 14, along with with Instagram. All things football, football and all things football underscore 14. Without wasting any time, a lot has happened in the last week, including Kaiser Chiefs, who were eliminated, along with Stellenbosch, Mamelodi Sundowns, and of course Orlando Pirates. Who will be the next champion in the Nedbank Cup, which is now vacant since the defending champions were edged out in the first round? That is. I also have the starting 11 of the going into the Soweto Derby, which kicks off in less than an hour at 15:30. Now, the ugly scenes of violence, we're going to talk about that in our next story and during the Ingwenyama Cup, which took place at Swatini. Once again, good afternoon. My name is Pierre Hoto. Let's get to our news making headlines. Club owner Sean Mkhize could have to pay close to 100,000 rand in fines, provided her club in Babani Highlanders AM is found guilty of spectator misbehavior after chaos and violence ensued during an Ingwenyama Cup in Eswat, which was played in Eswatini on Sunday afternoon. Now we saw scenes that were doing the rounds on social media where spectators got rowdy, it got chaotic, became rowdy and violent after they took a dislike, after they expressed displeasure to a decision that was made by the official in the game against Ntsingini Hotspur. Now, Ntsingini Hotspurs scored a goal in stoppage time during the game, which took place in Manzini. Now, let's break down the Ingwenyama Cup, now the Ingwenyama Cup is the brainchild of the King of Eswatini, rather. His King Majesty King Mswati, and the violence that erupted has caused serious damage, tarnishing not only the reputation of Eswatini football, however, it has also tarnished that of the royalty, tainting the beautiful game overall. Now, I'm gonna weigh in, drop my 2 cents in the case. Now, and for we do not condone this kind of behavior. We are there. The football is supposed to unite people. If we happen to take to express to not take kindly to a certain decision, let's go about it in dignity. Let's accept defeat and disgrace in grace, I beg your pardon, and keep it moving. It is the end of the game, not the world at the end. And now, what happened is, at the time of compiling the story, the Premier League of Eswatini, which is the PLE for short, was still waiting for official reports from the match official regarding the incident. Speaking to the chairman of the Premier League of Eswatini, Polycarp Dlamini did not hold back in emphasizing that his organization will take strong measures against the perpetrators, one of which was arrested and appeared in court on Thursday, while offering the words of apology to the king, the nation, and the sponsors of the tournament. Speaking to the chairman, Polycarp Dlamini, he states that we're running short of words to describe the incident on Saturday, deeming it as unacceptable and disgraceful to our football. We do not expect people to come to the stadium and attack match officials. We saw a match official who ran for his life before eventually being captured and being beaten by spectators. Was currently now the referee who handled the game has mentioned that he's looking to hang his whistle after he recovers from the is currently in hospital, making it doing very well, recovering very well. That is. He's speaking to the chairman. He says that we extend our sincere and unreserved apologies to His King Majesty, patrons of the Ingwenyama Cup and the traditional leaders of the country. This tournament stands as a symbol of national pride, cultural celebration, and values championed by His Majesty. The regrettable actions witnessed during the game do not reflect the spirit of the Ingwenyama Cup nor the dignity it seeks to uphold. It said in a statement released on Monday. Moving right along to our next story. Now, former Kaiser Chiefs on Black Leopards forward Brian Abbas Amidum has been handed a 12-year sentence after being convicted of dealing drugs in his country of Zimbabwe. A statement that was made by the ZRP, standing for Zimbabwean Republic Police, states that the confirms that the national spokesperson and Paul Nyati alongside football. Now, he's not the only. Now, I must remind you that Brian Abbas Amidu was not the only one who was found in the compromising position. Another one found was just as guilty was Ruben Kudzai Mhlanga. The statement reads: the police also confirms the conviction of two former soccer players, Domain Matsika, also known as Brian Abbas Amidu and Ruben Kadzai Mhlanga for dealing drugs, reads the statement. The two appeared in court on 24 February 2026 for sentencing and were each handed 12-year sentences in prison. The ZRP, Zimbabwean Republic Police, applauds members of the public for their continued operation and support in the fight against crime, with they're saying the community involvement remains critical in combating drug-related offenses. The Zimbabwe Republic Police reiterates that the crime does not pay. Now, the 35-year-old former marksman of Kaiser Chiefs and Black Leopards, retired Ford, was arrested in October the year 2025 after being found in possession of cannabis, which was worth 1.2 million rand. Arrested together with former footballer Mhlanga, who turned out from the Zimbabwe powerhouse club in Dynamos FC. His fall from grace marks a drastic turn for a player who once had the opportunity to ply his trade in the PSL, which is South Africa's top flight football. On to our third story. The UEFA mother, which serves as the footballing governing body in Europe, that is, which has a huge say in what goes on in European football, have suspended Gianluca Prestoni pending investigations. This in the second week. Now we saw that Prestoni did not take part in the Real Madrid encounter, in which took place in the Santiago Bernabeu. The disciplinary body are still investigating the alleged incident from last week's first leg, which stated in a statement that decided to provisionally suspend Mr. Gianluca Prestoni for the next UEFA club competition for which he would otherwise be eligible, where he was unable to feature for that game, which as the Portuguese champions were on a belt to turn an odd goal deficit. Now this comes after he had a confrontation with a Brazilian international in Vinicius Junior, who scored a goal split, which made the difference in the first leg after some alleged racist accusations to the referee in the aftermath of the celebration, which he also used on for Brazilian in Vinicius Junior. However, now the 20-year-old Argentine did state that he does not recall a reply using racial slur or did not racially abuse the Brazilian in any way. However, it begs the question: why did you, now it covers begs the question: why do you cover your face? Now I'm gonna say, I like to drop my 2 cents if that is possible. Why did you hide your why do you cover your mouth with your jersey if you do not intend on saying something offensive? What are you hiding? Very often in football, you have players and coaches who communicate, who cover their mouths in the process while they communicate. You go as far as covering your mouth with your jersey to say whatever it is that you said. Kylian Mbappe also agreed with the sentiment, stating that he did use a racial slur, referring to Vinicius Jr. as a monkey, a word a term he used 5 times. There were also monkey chants supposedly from the Benfica spectators. However, the Portuguese champions have decided to stand by their player in while pending the investigation, and most likely looking to appeal the decision that whatever it is, whatever decision that will be made by UEFA, which is the mother body of European football. Should it happen that he is found guilty, he stands to be suspended for a maximum of 10 football matches and all footballing activities. Speaking to Trent Alexander-Arnold also weighed in the incident, stating that it was a disgrace to football, while striker Kylian Mbappe said he does not deserve to play in the Champions League anymore. Now Benfica mentor and Jose Mourinho, who was also suspended controversially, says for the second leg, controversially criticized the player for his goal celebration, stating that his club could not be racist because the legend of the club, Eusebio, was actually a black player. Now, Eusebio is a former Portuguese player who was very popular, winning that Golden Boot award despite falling short in the semi-final to eventual winners England in the 1966 World Cup, which was hosted in England. According to Gianluigi Pistoni, he did use a homophobic slur, which instead of a racial slur, which does not make it okay either, because with football we are always about promoting inclusivity. No to racism, we promote inclusivity in the process. Now, if you follow football accordingly, very often they're always supportive of the Pride, the Pride Month, which is the month of June, where you see players from England and all these other parts of the world wearing rainbow Pride armbands, captains that is. On to our other story, I can confirm to you that Bafana will be hosting their Bafana will be hosting their upcoming fixtures at the South African Football Association have confirmed that the games between Bafana and Panama will be played at Durban's Moses Mabhida Stadium before taking the second game to the DHL Stadium in Cape Town. Two fixtures will be played on the 27th of March and the 31st, respectively, during the international break, the first of the year. The two fixtures will serve as a preparation for the upcoming FIFA World Cup to be held in the United States of America, Canada, and Mexico. The United States will be no strangers to hosting the world's biggest footballing showpiece, having hosted the tournament in 1994, while Mexico will be hosting it for the third time, having hosted in 1970, where they hosted the first World Cup to be held in color, and of course in 1986, 16 years later, which was synonymous with Diego Maradona's hand of God. Now Bafana will go into the FIFA World Cup. Bafana go into the FIFA World Cup, where they will be paired in Group A with Mexico, South Korea, and another team that is yet to be decided, while Panama will be paired with England, Ghana, and a third team that will be decided at a later stage. Onto our other story, which has been a big talking point for the longest, which has been doing the rounds and which has been doing the rounds in the last week. Chipper Holdings. We saw what happened with City, with a story that was written by City Press regarding Chipper United and how they owed SARS with the SARS incident and unpaid salaries that has been doing the round. Now I must inform. Now I managed to get hold of the letter here. It's a 4-page response that was provided by Chipper Holdings and Club Chairman, Mr. Chipper Mpesi. It's right here in my hands. I have the copy, the physical copy. Chipper United Club Chairman, Mr. Chipper Mpesi, broke his silence via an open letter regarding the report made by the City Press newspaper over the alleged SARS asset seizures and supposedly unpaid salaries. Now, the club also took to social media to on recent allegations to set the record straight regarding the salaries. The African School of Excellence, which they recently took over from Transnet, which was recently taken over by his company of Chigpa Holdings to prevent the club for the school from shutting down. Now, if you remember clearly and follow local football, Trans Soccer, the School of Excellence is synonymous with players like Tulani Serero, Stephen Bernard, Keegan Dolly, the late Happy Khatebe, just to mention a few. Now, their statement, official response statement, it's a relatively long statement we have here, where it's a relatively long statement we have on behalf of the relevant entities within the Chippa Holding Group and in my capacity as chairman of Chippa United Football Club. I wish to record a response to the recent City Press reporting relating to alleged SARS asset seizures and of course alleged unpaid salaries on the African School of Excellence operational context on 1 January, operational responsibilities of the Transnet South African Football Association School of Excellence officially transitioned from its previous custodian, Transnet, which had managed to manage the institution since the year 1994. Public notice was issued by Transnet stating that they were seeking an entity to take over operations as they were planning to close the school. We tendered, were shortlisted, and ultimately awarded the opportunity. Transnet donated the school to us, and we assumed all operational obligations, including maintenance, employee remuneration, and of course, as of January 2026. Prior engagement with City Press on salary allegation on 29 January, Ms. Ntombi Muleme of City Press contacted me. It reads, regarding allegations of unpaid teacher salaries at the African School of Excellence. I informed her that the teachers are paid at month end and that payment would be effected on 30 January once payment was made. I provided confidential documentary proof confirming that the affected parties had been paid. I further invited the school to I've invited Ms. Molema to the school to observe firsthand how we have been operating. That invitation was not honored. It is a basic principle that of responsible journalism where allegations are disproven through variable evidence. Publication should reflect that reality. Should reflect that reality. It goes on to say, despite this clarification, an article was subsequently published repeating the same false and malicious allegation. Moreover, Mr. Timothy Mulobi, the news editor at City Press, went on to whom I have a long-standing professional relationship with in sport, contacted me regarding the same matter. I clarified the situation fully, after which he acknowledged that the explanation and indicated that he would follow up internally. Despite these engagements done in good faith and in pursuit of assisting the publication to get their facts right, the factually incorrect article was still published, repeating claims that had already been addressed and corrected. Now we move on to the December salary allegations, responsibility of the prior operator. On 20 January, I was contacted by another City Press journalist in Mr. Duduzi Nonyana, who again raised the allegations over unpaid salary, this time referring to December salaries. It is important to place on record that December fell entirely earlier under Transnet's operational responsibility prior to the African School of Excellence control on 1 January. Any remuneration obligations for that period were therefore not the responsibility of the current operator. Given this, given that this matter has been clarified with City Press, it was concerning that the same allegations resurfaced, particularly as journalists operate from the same newsroom under the guidance of the same editorial management. Moving right along, as to moving to the SARS allegations and misrepresentation of conflation, Mr. Nonyana's questioning then shifted abruptly from salary matters to allegations relating to a supposed SARS debt collection, which in note collection notice involving one of my companies, including claims of unfilled income tax unfiled income tax returns, and of course, an implied 5-day enforcement notice. Chipper-related entities have a long-standing and ongoing engagement with SARS, spanning many years. Where matters rise, they are addressed through lawful arrangements and channel and professional channels. It is a standard practice for SARS to correspond with the turnover organization regarding reconciliations, assessments, or outstanding items. Such correspondence form part of normal regulatory engagement and does not amount to enforcement action. Any extreme measures to be taken by SARS are measures of last resort and follow extensive procedural remedies. It goes on. It's a relative now. This is a relatively long. It's a 4-page open letter written from Chipper Holdings owner and club owner and Mr. Severe Chipampengesi. It goes on to say, as a large organization, there is ongoing communication between our entities and SARS, as is the many sizable measures in the country to date. This in the business in the country. To date, these engagements have been managed constructively with and without dispute, reflecting a working relationship built over many years. We will not discuss any text correspondence in the public domain. However, the article's suggestion of imminent asset seizure as misleading and does not reflect the reality of engagement. What the article attempts to portray is far removed from the current position. It bears no resemblance to the historical instances where football clubs faced severe or advanced uh, enforcement action by SARS. We are very far from such scenarios. The article further conflates separate legal entities where the company engaging SARS has no operational or financial link to the Africa School of Excellence. While these entities fall under broader Chipper Holdings investment under the Chipper Holdings investment umbrella, each operates independently with its governance of and obligations. I also offered Mr. Nonyane the opportunity to visit the school to engage with me very face to face. However, that invitation was not honored, and the publication proceeded to public without to ben, proceeded to published without the benefit of a full and balanced account. Moving on to the misleading and publication and reputational harm. Despite the clarifications provided, City Press published an article suggesting that SARS is pursuing asset seizures against our business, that which and further implied that stakeholders, including the Nelson Mandela Bay municipality, were affected by these allegations. These assertions are misleading and factually unsupported. SARS does not comment publicly on internal ongoing processes, and any enforcement action would only occur after extensive procedural steps. If such steps were state if that such a stage was ever reached. SARS itself would be the first authority to confirm it and would be the first to confirm it if that were the case. It goes on to say it's a relatively long story. It's a relatively long open letter, a lengthy one. It's a 4-page long open letter, which was written by Mr. Svia Chipampengesi, chairman of Chipper United and the CEO of Chipper Holdings, which is a company aligned with that of Chipper United. These assertions are misleading and unsupported. SARS does not comment publicly or internal ongoing processes, and any enforcement action would only occur after an extensive procedural impact. If such a stage were ever reached, SARS itself would have to be the first authority to confirm it. The article on speculation rather than substantiated facts omits the explanations provided to the publication and presents the conjecture as implied truth. This has caused unnecessary reputational harm to our business and brands. Last but not least, the closing assurance provides the closing assurance will remain confident in the integrity of our operations and the future of our institutions. The Africa School of Excellence will continue its journey of becoming a leading academy and sporting institution on the continent, and Chippa United remains fully focused on concluding the season competitively and professionally. Given the seriousness of these editorial lapses, the matter will now be referred to the Press Council and the Press Ombudsman for review, and in the interest of the journalistic ethics, editorial accountability, and of course, public integrity, we assure our employees, partners, supporters, and stakeholders that we will not be distracted by the speculative sub-reporting. This does not define our work, and it will not derail our vision. Now that was the story regarding the incident involving Chippa United and Chippa Holdings, regarding the allegations of unpaid salaries and how the and how the matter affected the club from a business point of view and a reputational point of view. A lot of now, I must remind you that all things football is all about getting the different sides of the story. We do not dwell on rumors. We respond mostly, we are all about facts. As much as this is an informative show, we do not dwell on rumors. We do not dwell on hearsay. It's factual, nothing but facts. That's all things football. I must also remind you that there is no profanity, no harm to children. It is a family show. On to our results from. Let's turn to our NetBank Cup results. We believe now that we're done with our stories. Last week we saw TS Galaxy eliminate do the unthinkable with the goals from Spamandla Ngwenya, who scored from a spot kick. One of them coming from a spot kick. We're winning by 2 goals to nil, while Aberdeen City fell short to Durban City in a while Uppington City and Durban City could, in the battle of cities, could not be separated in 120 minutes, with Durban City needing spot kicks to win by 2 goals to nil. Golden Arrows falling too strong for Stellenbosch in what was a rather controversial incident, the Stellenbosch were denied an obvious penalty, winning by that odd goal. Keswick Stars shocking Orlando Pirates via a 5-4 penalty shootout win. SuperSport Skukune United on Sunday proved too strong with a goal from Luvuyo Klapa at the TAC Stadium against University of Pretoria, beating them by an odd goal, while Mkambati fell short to Milford FC, going down by 3 goals to nil, while Jigsaw Spears were too strong for Vasco da Gama, beating them by an odd goal. After that game, we saw a draw that was conducted at the Super Sports Studios in Randburg, where we saw the last way we are down to 8 from 32 teams. Games that which will be played from the 7th of March, which is next week onwards. Going on to the draw, we saw the draw that was made last week, the quarterfinals, Nedbank Cup. Amazulu will face Keswick Stars, while Skukune United will take on Melford FC. TS Galaxy, the only team that has won the tournament remaining in the side, will take on Jackson Spears, in 1987 runners up, I beg your pardon. Amazulu have not are yet to win the trophy, having fallen short in 1987 to Kaiser Chiefs before losing to Jomo Cosmos in 1990, and of course 2010 to Bedford, now defunct Bedford Fits. Golden Arrows will welcome Durban City in a Durban derby. On to onto the Premier League results from last week, dating back to the 21st of February. Aston Villa in Leeds United could not be separated, playing to a 1-0 draw. Brighton too strong for Brentford, beating them by 2 goals to nil. Chelsea and Burnley could not be separated. The Hammers and Bournemouth could not be separated, playing to a goalless draw. The Citizens goals from Nico O'Reilly decided Man City's fate, while 1 goal was pulled back for Newcastle by Dan Burn. Nottingham Forest falling short to Liverpool after winning by a convincing 3-0 in the first leg at Anfield. They fell short to Liverpool from a late goal by Alexis McAllister. Crystal Palace too strong for Wolves, beating them by an odd goal on Sunday, while Newcastle, well, Sunderland were handed their second loss by Fulham by 3 goals to 1. Tottenham on our only game. Tottenham on our late kickoff fell short to Arsenal with braces from Victor Gyökeres and of course Eberechi Eze by 4 goals to 1 to claim bragging rights in the North London derby. That odd goal from Benjamin Šeško was enough to give from the bench was enough to see Man United 0-1 get one over Everton. Betway Premiership fixtures, we saw Kaiser Chiefs steadies come from a goal down with goals from Devon Titus up there and Langalihle Pili cancelling Flavio de Silva's opener in the first half, and an odd goal from Marcelo Allende in the latter stages of the second half were enough to get one over Amazulu at the Moses Mabhida Stadium. Onto our Champions League fixtures, we saw the return legs of the knockout phase and second leg knockout phase playoff, with Atletico Madrid winning by 4-1 against Club Brugge to get a 7-4 aggregate. Inter fell short to Bodo Glimt, while the debutants won 5-2 on aggregate, beating them by 2 goals to 1 on the day. Leverkusen and Olympiacos could not be separated in the game that was even Stevens or the goalless draw, with Leverkusen score going through by a 2-0 scoreline on aggregate. Newcastle, a 9-3 win against debutants Karabakh, beating them by 3 goals to 2 on the day. Atalanta getting 4 over Borussia Dortmund in a 4-1 win to force a 4-3 win on aggregate. The Juventus falling short to Turkish side Galatasaray by 7-5 on aggregate, despite the old lady winning by 3-2 on the day. Paris Saint-Germain and Monaco League R competitors were held to a 2-all draw with Paris Saint-Germain, who are the defending champions, winning by 5 goals to 1 or 4 on the day. Not forgetting, last but not least, in what was a dramatic encounter on the first leg in Lisbon, Real Madrid proved too strong for Real Madrid and for Benfica rather, the Portuguese champion at the Santiago Bernabeu, who are playing without the suspended Jose Mourinho following his red card in Lisbon, beating them by 2 goals to 1 and 3-1 on aggregate. Here's the round of 16. Here's how the round of 16 looks. The games which will be held in mid-March, first leg encounters. The defending champions, Paris Saint-Germain, will play Chelsea in a round of 16, while Real Madrid, who are no strangers to Man City, will renew their rivalry in a home and away encounters. Newcastle will face Barcelona. Bodo Glimt will take on Sporting Club de Portugal. Galatasaray will face Liverpool, who they met in the group stages, where Galatasaray won by an odd goal. Atalanta take on Bayern Munich, with Atletico Madrid take on Tottenham Hotspur. Bayer Leverkusen will take on the Londoners. News just in, I can safely reveal that Bafana says the South African football. Now, these are news just in. The South African Football Association can confirm that Bafana's training base in Mexico has been revealed, with Coach Hugo Bruce saying or explaining why they feel the game against Mexico will be special. Now, Bafana performed dismally, did not put the best display in the recent Africa Cup of Nations, which took place in Morocco after crashing out in the round of 16. Preparations, however, have kicked off going into this year's World Cup, qualifying for the first time since 2002. The national team will be based in Pachuca in Mexico, where they were trained in the Universidad del Football, University of Football, according to South African Football Association, after they put on a brilliant display, finishing in a group that had Nigeria, I beg your pardon, Zimbabwe, Rwanda, just to mention a few. Bafana will be alongside host Mexico, who they will face in the opening encounter, and a reverse fixture which we saw on the 11th of June in the year 2010. The other member of the group will be decided in the UEFA playoffs between the Czechia, Denmark, and of course Macedonia. The 1996 AFCON winners will start their campaign at the Azteca, which was once the biggest football stadium in the world. Speaking, they have Bafana took to social media to state that the South African Football Association have confirmed that Bafana will be based in Kachuka for the 2026 World Cup, where they will train at the University Dada Football and stay at the Camino Real Pachuca Hotel, located just outside Pachuca. After the week of football, that well, here's what you can expect. Last night, by the way, before we move forward, let's give you an idea of what to expect from the weekend of football that lies ahead. Starting with the Betway Premiership encounter last night, which kicked off last night. Magesi getting two over Polokwane City, getting two over neighbors Magesi in what was Coach Alan Fries's first encounter, which did not have a happy ending at the Seshiko Stadium, while Stellenbosch FC got one over Amazulu in a coastal derby at the Danny Craven Stadium by an odd goal. Here's how the table looks after the week of football that was. Orlando Pirates Mamelodi Sundowns jumped on top of the table on goal difference after that win against Amazulu. While Kaiser Pirates could move back to for top, it provided they beat Kaiser Chiefs today. Orlando Kaiser Chiefs missing out on jumping from on toppling Sekhukhune United after going down to Stellenbosch by 2 goals to 1. They tied with Amazulu on 30 points, while Durban City lie sixth with 28. Magesi fell short while going Magesi FC fall short after losing last night, alongside Amazulu, who find themselves in fifth, well, where there was as a result of being unable to rescue something against Stellenbosch FC, which would see them topple Kaiser Chiefs to fourth. Stellenbosch moved to ninth after their odd goal win against Amazulu last night, while Polokwane City remains seventh on 28 points, alongside Durban City, which are separated on goal difference. Here's what you can expect this week. Let's start with this record. Let's start with the record with the stats going to the Soweto Derby. This will be the 100. This will serve as the 184th encounter between the two sides, and 183 meetings have been held since 1970, with Kaizer Chiefs winning 75, while Orlando Pirates have won 49 with 54 games ending in draws. 233 goals have been scored by Kaizer Chiefs, while Orlando Pirates have netted 199 goals. 11 own goals have been scored in the game. Namely, in the Kaizer Chiefs, Orlando Pirates have netted 7, while Kaizer Chiefs have scored 4 of them on goals. Records, interesting facts, the 19 seconds is the fastest goal we've had in the Soweto Derby, a goal that was scored by Mapudi Kanyasa at the then Absa Stadium in Durban. Your leading goal scorers in the Soweto Derby include Ace, who sits on 19, while 11 is shared by Nelson Tini Shkatla, Max Maponyane, Abednego Shiraka, and of course Ephraim Jomosono, who plied his trade for Orlando Pirates. Here's what you can expect in the week of football. We have a super Saturday of football where we'll see Kaizer Chiefs take on Orlando Pirates in a game that kicks off in less than 20 minutes. Golden Arrows welcome Chippa United afterwards at the King Zwelithini Stadium. Siwelele FC will take on TS Galaxy. We close off the evening with Albert College taking on Richards Bay. Tomorrow we'll see Sekhukhune United traveling to Mamelodi Sundowns. And of course, last but not least, we'll see Marimo Gallants welcome Durban City in an encounter which should be just as interesting. Midweek fixtures, we'll see we'll see Richards Bay welcome Kaizer Chiefs at the Umhlatuza Sports Complex. Suelele FC will take on Stellenbosch FC, an encounter that would be just as appetizing. TS Galaxy will welcome a struggling Orbit College, who will be fighting to rescue their top flight status. Wednesday sees Durban City welcomes Sekhukhune United in what should be an interesting encounter. Amazulu will take on Magesi FC, while Chippa United welcome Remo Gallants. Golden Arrows travel to Mamelodi Sundowns, while Polokwane City welcome Orlando Pirates. Premier League kicked off last night with Aston Villa falling short to a surprisingly Wolves, who got their second win of the season last night, winning by 2 goals to nil. Today you can see we can expect Bournemouth, which is currently underway in the second half, taking on Sunderland. Liverpool welcome West Ham. Newcastle take on Everton. Burnley take on Brentford, while the last encounter will see Leeds United welcome Manchester City. Sunday afternoon, we'll see another Super Saturday with Brighton taking on Nottingham Forest. Fulham will take on Tottenham Hotspur, while Manchester United welcome Crystal Palace. And Arsenal will take on Chelsea in another London derby. Tuesday, we'll see the Toffees take on Burnley at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. Bournemouth take on Brentford, while Leeds United take on Sunderland. Wolves welcome Liverpool, as Brighton will close things off by welcoming Arsenal at the American Express Stadium. Wednesday, we'll see Brighton take on Arsenal, rather. That game will be on Wednesday, that is. Manchester City will take on Nottingham Forest at the Etihad, while Fulham welcome West Ham in another London derby. Villa will take on Chelsea, while Newcastle will welcome Manchester United. Manchester United will be looking to do a double under current caretaker coach and Michael Carrick, who's yet to taste defeat since he took over the Red Devils in the league. Last but not least, we'll see just one game, another London derby, Tottenham Hotspur taking on Crystal Palace. And that's all we have time for on All Things Football Unpacked. Hope you enjoy the show. I thank you in advance for watching. We are just 20 minutes away from kickoff to the Soweto Derby, Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates. It's a sold out affair. However, you can catch the show on a TV channel of your choosing. You can go to that sports bar. However, I'm going to ask again that you do not force your way into the stadium. Do not force matters, as law enforcement will be forced to deal with you. Furthermore, I plead with you to get to the venue on time to prevent any delays. Impressively, that I must inform you that the good part is all fans have come to the stadium, or almost every supporter is currently at the stadium on time. Brendan Peterson, in a decision that caught many by surprise, is not in the team sheet, and will be replaced by Bruce Fuma on the day. Bruce Fuma gets a start alongside Aidan McCarthy, and Ashley Miguel returns from injury. Zeta Grinika will wear the captain's armband, replacing Brendan Peterson, who doesn't start. Tabiso Nunyana gets a start along Sankosi Mpile Ngcobo, Lebohang Mabue. Ethan Chislett makes his derby debut alongside Claudio Lepo, and of course Flavio De Silva. On the Kaizer Chiefs bench, we'll see Fiacre Ntwari. Bradley Cross, who also returns from injury, however, is good enough to start on the bench. Pasek Amago, Dylan Solomons, Thabo Cele, Asenele Velebai, Gaston Serino, Ashley Dupree, and of course Wandi Leduba. Hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoyed the presentation as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. This has been All Things Football. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the football. As Mr. All Things Football always says, do the noble thing. Take care of yourselves and each other. Cheers.